Howdy, howdy, howdy. How are y'all doing this Monday evening? It's first Monday in February. I think so. We had Groundhog Day last week. Yeah, it's so cold. I don't expect us to see winter go away anytime soon, even down here in Texas. Hope y'all are doing fantastic. A big old SKD 143 to all of y'all. Love my wife, love the kids, love reality TV fans. I especially love you guys out here watching live or watching on a replay. I'm not forgetting about y'all either. Welcome to all of y'all. I hope y'all had a good week. I hope you're enjoying everything that's going on. It's I don't know, it's kind of an interesting time of the year, right? We're through with the holidays and all of that, so you don't have that to look forward to. People have started back work. We started a while back, but school you've started back out. Kind of cold and yucky outside. Just kind of wait until the spring gets here, right? But we get to do it together. So welcome to all of y'all. I hope you're doing fantastic. Excuse me. I hope I'm not going to be coughing all night. I don't think I will. All right, let me see who's out here, and then we'll talk about a few this day in histories, some reality TV, some binge-worthy TV, whatever y'all got in mind as well. I'm kind of open this evening. So Brian Hostetler, first one out there. A little bit of strategies in Big Brother. All right, remind me if I don't talk about it in a second, Brian. But yeah, we'll talk a little Big Brother as we go forward. Marilyn Sutherland. Hey, Marilyn, how are you doing? Cindy Hire, happy Monday to you as well, Cindy. Kiki's out here. Hey, Kiki, how are you? Mark Taylor out here as well. Yeah, ask me some circle questions. We'll talk about that. Jake, the horror movie geek. Hey, Jake, how are you? Keith Franken as well. All right. Yeah, Broomball. I remember Broomball. We'll talk about that in a sec too. And let's see who else. Michelle Moore. Hey, Michelle, how are you doing? Ma asking about the Beatles. Yeah, I'll talk a little bit about the Beatles here in just a second. Andy W as well. Hey, Andy, how are you as well? Amanda Lowe, Miss Fire, Michelle. I think I got you before, but I'll do it again. Welcome to all of y'all, all of y'all that are here, and again, those of you who are watching on replay as well. I'll just get this out of the way right now, and then we'll talk about all kinds of fun stuff. If you have already gone out there and subscribed to my YouTube channel, please consider doing so. And you can turn on the notifications so you'll know whenever I drop a new episode of any of the different things I cover and all of that. And you can do a little thumbs up while you're at it as well. Yeah, it's funny. I do the Big Brother during the summer, the overnight feeds, and God, I have so much fun doing that. But I try to cover, Survivor and The Challenge, some other shows throughout the rest of the season. But it's funny when you watch the subscriptions to this channel, because in the summer, it's like a roller coaster. During the summer, it's like that big coast at the very top of the hill as everyone's watching. And then the rest of the year just kind of tails off. It just stays steady and all that. I definitely, and I understand that. I mean, I played Big Brother, so I definitely get that and get the viewership and everything. But man, I sure appreciate y'all being out here each and every week. It does mean a lot to me. All right. So a couple of questions as we talk about. I think Ma asked about the Beatles. I put a little reminder out there on the Beatles on the on my Instagram reminder about the show going on, because on this week in 1964 is actually tomorrow, and then I think a year back on do the math, 1964, 36. 59 years. 59 years ago tomorrow, the Beatles land in New York, start the Beatle invasion. Basically the whole English rock invasion, it seems like. Showed up in the USA in 1964. A couple of days later, they played on the Ed Sullivan Show, and life was never the same in terms of music and everything else. Just a little bit before my time, a year or so, not much, just a year. But definitely that. Now, Ma's saying your favorite Beatle is Ringo, and Dad's is George. Now, Ringo did what was a Thomas the Tank Engine? Some of y'all may have watched that. He was the conductor on Thomas the Tank Engine. I remember Ringo from that. I don't know who my favorite was. It seems like I kind of like pop music and everything. I feel like John Lennon's music was maybe a little bit more deep and symbolic and everything else, whereas Paul McCartney was all just pop and having fun. And I kind of like that sort of music. And so I may have to go with Paul myself. But what an amazing band. It's so funny because, again, a little before my time, but when they first started, they're wearing their ties, their hair's short. They're very much a product of the early 60s. By the time they finished up, what, 5 or 6 years later, a little bit longer than that, God, they were wearing all the bright colors and fully into the hippie movement and the Maharashis and Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds, whatever that could stand for. Yeah, they were so much into the countercultural that it's funny they transitioned from kind of 50s rock and roll all the way into to the music of the 60s and the counter revolutions and everything. And maybe that's why they're so cool, is they've got so many different songs. I went through a Beatles phase right after I got out of college where I knew every song. I listened to every one of them. I still like them. So yeah, 1964, the Beatles made their invasion onto the United States territories and conquered the world, so to speak. That was a fun time. Lots of good music. Brian Hostetler saying, all right, yeah, let's talk about that. So this day in history, the Beatles did. Before we talk about any other days in history, I'll answer the question, Brian, before I forget about it. Can you talk about any strategy for someone going into the Big Brother house? And again, I so hope Brian, you or someone else that's out here gets into that Big Brother house one of these days, because it would be so much fun cheering you on. But what would be the strategy going into that house? We've seen some people go in and play it very low key. We've seen other people like Frenchie go in and just come in like a gangbuster and just taking on everything and everyone while they're in there. I think the strategy is going to have to vary from person to person, based on what you feel like your position is, and really based on who else is in the house as well. I knew during my season that I was going to be an early target. The old guy, get out of the old guy. Who cares if the old guy goes home? Yeah, I knew there was going to be some of that mentality. That would be an easy pick for one of the first ones. So I went in thinking that I was going to have to play a little bit more aggressively, take a few more chances, and really try to do a little bit more relationship building very early in order to survive, because otherwise I knew I could be an easy target. So if you're someone that feels like you might have to do something like that you may be an early target, you may have to play a harder game in the beginning. And it wasn't just me. Mickey from my season, the guy who won it and all that, I know he has talked to me before and said that he came in thinking he was going to be a huge target because he was such a huge, big alpha male that everyone would want to work with and all that. But on the other hand, everyone would want to get him out because they knew he could win so much. So he felt like he was a target. And so as a result, when it came time during our season to try to run for camp director, I did it because I knew I could be at risk. He did it because he thought he could be at risk. And I think David Alexander and Jessica Milagros, who also ran for camp director, they both felt like they were threats to go home early also. So we each had our reasons. So if you go into the house at the very beginning and you feel like you could be a target, I think you have to play differently than someone like, let's say, Nick or Nicole or maybe Tommy. Some of the people who were going to be able to fit in, who probably could go under the radar for the first 4, 5, 6 weeks and not really be in danger because there were bigger targets than them. Someone like that, I think there's something to be said for just laying low, see how everything falls out. Now, it doesn't mean you aren't building relationships. It just means you're not probably the one leading the pack building these relationships. Just kind of go with the flow, make sure you're fitting in, that you got a lot of friends in there. Figure out who the enemies are they're being targeted, who's got your support, and vice versa. So you can slow play it a little bit more if you think that you're going to be able to fit in just a little bit more. So that's the other thing. Now, in terms of overall strategy, I think you've got to realize I was in there for 13 weeks. I was in 93 days. I wish it'd been 99, but you know how it goes. That's a long time to be playing any reality game. Survivor does it in 39 days. We had 99. That is a long time to be playing. If you go in thinking you're going to do everything in the first week, you're going to burn out. There's no way you can do that. We saw that happen with Frenchie. No slight of Frenchie. I mean, he's just the most recent that's done something like that. Every season you see a couple of people come in that are just trying to do too much too fast. And I don't think you can survive like that. I think you've got to realize it's a marathon. It's not a sprint, and play the game that way. So yeah, the biggest thing Smile at everyone when you're in there. Listen more than you speak, which maybe I should have done that instead of getting overheard, but listen and pick up as much information as you can. Because it's all about the relationships at the beginning. So you got to know, you got to be able to figure out the climate that's going on in there. And once you do that, then you can start finding your way, finding the path, picking your way through to figure out what you're going to do to survive. So there you go. But it's going to vary from person to person. I truly do believe. All right, a couple more questions we got on here. Mark saying, Mark, that's a good question. I saw a second ago. Mark, where do they shoot The Circle? And then Cindy saying it's filmed in Manchester, England. Thank you, Cindy. I would have gotten it wrong. I knew it was filmed in the UK. I didn't realize Manchester. You know, when I hear Manchester, England, all I can think of is the musical Hair. I love me some musicals. There's a song from Hair called Manchester, Manchester, England. Da, 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 da. Yeah, you pull it up on YouTube. You'll know what I'm talking about. But no, all right. So thank you, Cindy. It's filmed in Manchester. I think all the Circle shows, I think they're all filmed in that same apartment complex, right? Correct me if I'm wrong, but I assume the UK one is filmed there. Ours is filmed there. There's so many different circles. I go out on Netflix. I see they've got the French Circle, the Brazilian Circle. I'm sure there's a dozen other ones as well that may or may not be on Netflix or other services, but a lot of countries do the Circle. And as far as I know, they're all filmed in that same location. Do you think other people live in that apartment complex that maybe they just have a few floors for the people playing a Circle, and the rest of the time everyone else is in there saying, "Oh my God, it's those knuckleheads doing that stuff up there again," or is it just a building that's just been bought by the production? That's probably what it is. You got a few floors for the contestants. The other floors are for production companies, the offices, film editing, whatever all goes into the Circle. That's more likely. Because I've always thought when you watch a Circle, some of these people can be a little bit loud. You couldn't have them next door to each other. They've got to be split up, different sides of the building, different floors, different levels, etc., so they can't hear each other, right? Because otherwise, someone with a booming voice like mine, you don't need a computer or the TV screen to get a message across. You'd hear it through the balcony and all that. So I don't know, but yeah, I do know that they're all filmed over there in that same similar location. Isn't that funny that no one thought to just build a building over here? It's got to be cheaper than flying everyone over there, but yeah, what do I know? But yeah, that's where it's all filmed. I still haven't finished The Circle season 5. I'm so close. Every time I start binge watching some other show, I put it off to the side and I just haven't quite gotten there yet. I'll get there. All right. Keith Franken. What? Won the Broomball Championship at church camp. Congratulations, Keith. Broomball champions. Now, correct me if I'm wrong. Isn't Broomball the game that you play on an ice hockey rink, but you play with brooms instead of hockey sticks, and you play with a soccer ball or a volleyball instead of a puck? I thought that's what broomball was, but if it's not, tell me. If it's something more like Quidditch or pickleball or something, tell me. But I thought it was just ice hockey with brooms. And the reason I say I actually played some broomball when I was a younger soul, as you would, when I worked at Six Flags over Texas. As you can imagine, a theme park has a lot of younger people working there. And I know during the springtime we had softball tournaments that you had every department. Like I was gifts and souvenirs. I've always been a salesman. Every group had its own softball team. I was a catcher, just so you know. That would host softball games or play softball games, but then in the winter time or the fall, we would do I think it was called broomball. We'd play hockey tournaments, playing with the brooms and the volleyballs. And about the only ice rink that was in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, it seems like. We're not like some of y'all up north that have hockey rinks on every street corner or whatever. We had like one or two in the whole city back then. I did take some ice skating when I was younger. I'm horrible at it. I'm no good at all, but I did take a lesson when I was a little bit younger. So yeah. Miss Fire saying, who sang the song Manchester? I don't know. Treat Williams, maybe. I think he was in the movie Hair, and I think he's the one that sings it. Now I don't know if he's actually the one that sang it versus someone dubbing it over, but there are some songs in Hair very politically incorrect, but it's written back in the '60s. It's very lighthearted. Not really, because it's dealing with a lot of issues about Vietnam and just growing up in that period and all that. There's a lot of good songs in there. If you haven't watched Hair, it's kind of one of those that not a lot of people know a lot about. Check it out. It's very counterculture. It's definitely the hippies. It reminds me when I was very little. We'd go to church on a Sunday morning. Then my mom and dad on the way home would say, "Ah, y'all want to stop and look at the hippies?" We'd stop at the local park, pull in, and we'd watch all the hippies throwing frisbees and smoking funny things and acting silly and wearing the most amazing clothes I've ever seen in my life. That's what this suburban family did when I was 5, 6, 7 years old. Very, very interesting growing up. All right. What else we have? Andy W saying uh, the darn what is it? The darn the darn groundhog. Sorry about that. Said 6 more weeks of winter. Yeah, I'm not surprised. We've got it's starting to get a little bit better down here, and everyone's out here saying, "Oh, let's start planting stuff." I got to do some planting because the freeze killed off all kinds of avocados, loofahs, oranges. We'll get 1 or 2 more freezes down here. For those of y'all up there, yeah, you got 6 more weeks. We maybe only have 3 or 4 down here, but we're not quite done just yet. Um, so yeah, we've got that. All right, what else do we have on here? Let me look. So yeah, now speaking of, speaking of Groundhog's Day, I have a special affinity to groundhogs. Do y'all remember when we did BB Comics inside the Big Brother house? I was the groundhog. I really wondered when I had that. I was so busy playing the game, and I was looking at everyone's comic. Mine was the very last, second to last on the upper right, and I started on the left. I kind of forgot there was even a comic for me. So I didn't even think about it until suddenly I got to the picture and the groundhog, and there's my face and glasses and everything looking out of this comic, and like, oh, okay, I guess that's all right. I thought there'd be more something Boss Hog or new sheriff in town or something like that, as opposed to a creature that digs under the ground and scares people. But whatever. It was. I still have that comic, and a guy named Tom Wynn is the one who drew it. And I've talked to him once or twice, a few times. I'm going to go to one of the festivals he goes to, Comic-Con, things like that. I'm going to find him one of these times and get him to actually sign that BB comic, because I've got the original, the full size one. One of my most treasured possessions I got after being on Big Brother. So cool. And so yeah, now I get it for Groundhog Day every February as well. So all right, let's see what else do we have on here. Mark saying, yeah, poor rookies on the challenge. Let's talk about the challenge a little bit. And I know that not all of y'all watch it. That's okay. You don't have to watch it for what we're going to talk about right now. Just know this. I'm going to throw little spoilers out. So if you haven't watched it and you want to, cover your ears for next minute or two. But we finally made it to the final, which means I think we've only got one episode left. They started the final. I think they'll finish it up on Wednesday. 8 people left, 4 groups of 2 there, because they're all playing as duos this year. 3 of the duos are vets. They've been there season after season, and that's the way they do it in the challenge. You don't just play one season, you're gone. You come back over and over again. So 3 of them have been there multiple times. We know all about them. But we had one rookie duo, and this is Horatio and Olivia. Horatio was on a Spanish language reality show, kind of like Beast Warrior or something, the Ninja Warrior it looked like. And then Olivia was on Love Island, which if I ever run into him, I have to apologize and say, yeah, I kind of didn't think you were going to do that well, just because Love Island's all about dating. It's not about competitions and stuff, but yes, dating is kind of competition. But anyway, she's a badass. She's been playing the game well. She's given it everything she could. This duo, they had such a hard time in this final. At one point, they're having to throw some ropes with balls attached, try to land them in a little ladder assembly as part of a competition. Somehow, Olivia manages to get the rope wrapped around her finger when she throws it, and it puts a big old deep cut in her finger. She must have twice as much blood as any other person on Earth, because it's like a spigot. All of a sudden, there's blood going everywhere. She's trying to get that thing taken care of. They're trying to wrap it up. She's still watching to see how her partner's doing in this competition, but it's hurting, it's bothering her. You think that's the worst part of it. Oh no, it got a whole lot worse for her. They had another competition a little bit later in the episode where they had to use giant slingshots to launch golf balls at a target, maybe 50 feet, 75 feet away, try to hit this target. Well, Olivia, while she's pulling back on this bungee cord, surgical tubing, whatever device to launch this golf ball, somehow, I don't know if the golf ball got caught in a little pouch or it hit the post or whatever. It didn't go towards the target. Instead, it went and then came right back. It may have hit the post. I don't know. Or may have just got caught in the pouch, but the golf ball came right back, hit her right in the bridge of her nose. I mean, perfect shot, right? Ah, jeez. Perfect shot right in the bridge of her nose. As soon as it happens, blood everywhere. I mean, not just like a bloody nose. I mean, like a garden hose of blood just pouring out everywhere. It's horrible. Oh, I felt so bad for her. I also felt so happy for her that it hit her right there. If it hit her in either one of the eyes, she would have lost her eye. I mean, that would have been a permanent injury, which makes me wonder. They did the same competition a little bit earlier in the season. They all had to, if I remember, I think they had all had to wear goggles and helmets. This time they had helmets on, but they didn't have to wear goggles. And I bet they're wondering why they didn't make them put on goggles at this point. She was dang lucky. But eventually the medics show up. I'm sure they were there, but they come rushing over and they're trying to stop the blood. They throw on her ambulance and they're hauling her off to the hospital. And she's all worried about the way she looks. Is my nose broken? Is it bent? Does it look bad? And the nurse in there is talking to her, said, no, it looks fine. Horatio, her partner, saying, no, it looks fine. The nurse says, don't worry, you've got blue eyes. No one will care. In Argentina, they put they put a premium on fair-haired, blue-eyed kind of looks and all that. Kind of weird. I've been to that country. Very, very strange kind of people there. Gotta say, just a little arrogant. And to all you Venezuelans, I don't mean it. Everyone, that's not fair to stereotype or generalize. But anyway, so they told her that. But I felt so bad for Olivia. And I felt bad for Horatio. They said, look, if she's not competing, you're not competing either. But yeah, it was a horrible injury. And I've seen pictures of her afterwards. 2 black eyes. She got stitches all up and down her nose to fix it. She'll have a little bit of a scar there forever. But I saw that and it made me think about my own particular challenge during the Big Brother season where I too was having to launch a giant slingshot. And that's my background right here. Do y'all remember that? Now that's Nicole, because they didn't dare put a picture of me trying to launch it because I was so horrible at it. But this was called Win It and You're In It. And it was a final 4, the veto competition. Whoever won it guaranteed themselves a spot in the final 3 and got to decide who was going home in 4th place. Well, unfortunately, it wasn't me. Mickey won it, and Mickey decided to send me home. Man, that's a shame, but whatever. But yeah, we had to do our own launching from a giant slingshot. The difference is that we had, there it is right there, right there. We had not golf balls. We had big spongy balls like you have in gym class. I don't think they trusted us with golf balls. And it's a good thing because I shot a lot of those balls trying to knock down the pictures of contestants based on different trivia questions and all that. That had to be the hardest competition of the whole season. Now, hanging onto the wall was pretty tough. But this one, it was so hot on that day. The sun was directly overhead. It just beat down on me. When I got done with this competition, I had to see an EMT, and they put ice packs on my neck, under my arms. Once I'd cooled down a little bit, they made me strip down and go take a cold shower just to bring down my body temp because I was so close to heat stroke at the time. They grabbed at me a little bit for not taking some breaks during the competition to get some drinks of water and things like that. And I didn't know at the time. They knew that I already had lost this thing, that I wasn't going to win it, but I wasn't going to stop right in the middle. So I got griped at a little bit for not taking breaks. But yeah, they did a lot of that. What maybe some people don't realize as well, remember in the backyard, it's artificial turf during the week, the swimming pool and all that. Well, it's the same artificial turf was back there during this competition itself. And I was wearing shorts that day because it was so hot. And so every time I went to the ground, I went on my knees to launch this slingshot and got the worst turf burn, rug burns from this, from constantly putting my knees on this ground and running back and forth and falling on my knees as I'm grabbing the balls to gather them up. By the time I got done with this competition, I just worn away all the skin on my knees, blood pouring down my shins. I still have scars on my knees from that experience because it cut through several layers of skin. I was rough. Blood pouring down everywhere. I didn't find out until later. I bled so much in that backyard that they had to shut down the entire game, the entire production, and send carpenters out there and cut a big, like 8 foot by 8 foot section of this artificial turf, cut it out from the yard, and replace it with a new strip of artificial turf because I'd created such a biohazard because my blood had dripped all over this carpet where the slingshot was. So, yeah. Holly told me a little bit later. She said, "Yeah, I didn't know why I had to wait so long after you went." Well, it's because they were fixing where I'd bled all over like a stuck pig. So yeah, probably a good thing. I wasn't injured nearly as badly as Olivia was. Thank God they didn't give us golf balls. But yeah, it brought back some of my own remembrances of my own slingshot competition. And I don't want to ever see one of those again. Yeah, give me balls that you roll. I'm good at that. Not so much balls that you launch through a slingshot. So yeah, it's funny how little things bring back memories of my time there in the house. All right, Ma's saying, talking about strategy. Really go for the first HOH. You know, a lot of people go back and forth on what they think about that. Because if you win, you'll get everyone proposing strategies with you. I agree. And making day one alliances, typically make it to the end. I agree with all of that, Ma. Everyone avoids the first HOH, but it's really beneficial. I kind of agree with you. I guarantee I was going for that first HOH. I wasn't slacking off on that, but there were a lot of people, probably a third of the people at least in my season, who threw the first HOH. They didn't want to win it. Now, I think part of it was that we didn't do our first HOH competition until late in the evening of the first day. Because if you remember, we had to decide if we wanted to run for camp director. Then we had to campaign for it. Then we had the actual voting. Then the camp director had to pick 4 people to be banished. Once they were banished, then they had to compete in that dark maze to get back into the house. So with all of that going on, it meant that the actual HOH competition didn't take place until late. It was probably 9-10 o'clock at night. It seems like it was very late on that first day. And we went into the house at 10:30 or so in the morning, if I recall, 10:30 or 11. So it was a long period of time before that first HOH had been held. As a result, you already had, I hate to even use the name, but you already had the Grateful Eight had formed, at least to some degree. You already had people who had an entire day to talk, potentially form alliances, potentially feel like they were comfortable. They were in a comfortable position. I think because of that, during my season especially, we had even more people than normal throwing that first HOH because everything you say is right, Ma. Not only does it protect you, but it gives you the chance to really consolidate power and everything else. But with my season, I think there were a lot of people who felt like they already were in this big group that had the power. They didn't want to be the person that had to be the first one to put blood on their hands as the first HOH. They wanted someone else to do it. I know there are a lot of people who have said that, as long as once it got down to the end and it was just Christy and Tommy and Nick or something, they knew it was all within that group of 8 that they didn't want to be the one necessarily to have the HOH itself. So yeah, I think that contributed to a little bit versus other seasons where maybe we see them go into the house and within the first 30 minutes or so, you have the HOH. You don't have time to do a lot of alliance talking and relationship building before the HOH. And I think when they do that, you have people playing a lot harder for that first HOH. So I guess that's another suggestion I've always got, or things I like to see on Big Brother. Don't evict anyone on day number 1 or even week number 1. Give everyone a lot of time to get to know each other. But 2, go ahead and do that first competition as quickly as you can. Force people to play hard. And then after that's happened, you can have people doing some alliances and things like that. But yeah, I agree with that. I wanted to win that first HOH because I knew that was probably one of the few ways. My goal going in was find out one or two people who really seemed to be playing hard and or were worried about their position in the game at the very beginning, and that look like they could do well, and go to them and say, look, I'm willing to work with you. I'm going to be a loyal soldier. As long as you protect me, you've got my vote. Let me ride your coattails a little bit. There's nothing wrong with a little groveling at the start. That was my goal to start. But if I'd won HOH, then I knew I could pull people in and potentially create a little bit of an alliance as my own, because power attracts all kinds of folks, right? So yeah, I sure would have loved to have won that first one. And I did all right. I came in 4th or 5th. Of course, who knows how many people threw it, as I mentioned, but it was a fun first HOH competition. I really felt like I was playing the game. Of course, I played 2 games. I played I had to play in the dark woods for the banishment competition, and then turn around and play in the HOH. It was a busy first day for old Boss Hog in there. I guarantee you that. All right, a couple more questions we've got on here. Dan Lee saying, I knew you were the Beatles' 5th member, LOL. Yeah, considering that my lack of musical, I could play the train. I could play the cymbals or something. I could probably do that. I'd play the triangle, something like that. Yeah, I love me some Beatles, but yeah, probably not so much the singing and the songwriting. They're great singing to share, though. Strawberry Fields, A Long and Winding Road. I'm a huge fan of Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band. That may be my favorite. I like the original. I like the remake. Again, talking about musicals, I love the remake that had Peter Frampton and the Bee Gees and Aerosmith and Earth, Wind and Fire. Oh, what a great, cheesy. I mean, there's no Academy Award winning material on it, but still a lot of fun. I love that. All right, let's see. Mandelo, did you get any storms that went through Texas? Yeah, we got it pretty easy. I told you a couple of weeks ago, we had the tornado that came way too close to our house. But other than that, it actually was a lot less than they even had told us. I was expecting just horrific storms and everything. We had a little bit, enough to just stay indoors and enjoy a little TV and just hanging out inside as opposed to be outside. It's been a little cold down here, but no, the worst stuff was over in Austin and up in Dallas, Fort Worth, in that area. Kind of look a little band there. We were a little too far south and a little too far east to deal with that. Austin, my son lives there and his wife. Here's what happened over in Austin. And y'all don't care about weather forecasts, so I'll go quick. We had that huge freeze, was it 2 years ago? Everything froze up. The whole state of Texas lost power and all that. It killed a lot of trees over in Austin because it got 10 degrees or whatever, and trees down here don't handle that. So killed all the trees. People who didn't then go in and prune those trees or cut those trees down, they've been sitting there for 2 years. Now we had these huge ice storms in Austin that coated all of those limbs with ice, all that extra weight. Next thing you know, these dead trees that can't support that weight, they had trees collapsing all over Austin, taking out power lines, taking out cars, taking out houses. My son lost a tree. Fortunately, the tree fell forwards into the street as opposed to falling into their house or into a car or something else. But yeah, it was rough. We here in Houston, we didn't have to deal with much of that at all. So we were pretty lucky. All right, what else do we have on here? A couple of them. Brian saying, what was your Zingbot zing? Oh, they mailed it in. I was not real happy with my zing. Not because I was offended. I just thought there was more they could have made fun of. But my Zingbot, first of all, how cool was it that I was there for Zingbot? That was a huge milestone. I didn't care what Zingbot was going to say. Just the fact that I was in there, I got to watch Zingbot come in. Oh, my Zingbot was something about house guest. You've been in this house for the last 67 days with the most voluptuous house guest that you could possibly imagine. And then you make it sound like it's going to be Jessica. And I said, the most voluptuous house guest, Cliff. Zing. So yeah, just making fun of the fact that I got a dad bod and all that. So I was like, yeah, I went over and bumped chest with Zingbot and acted silly and all that. But I've never been a huge fan of Zingbot making fun of people's personal features. Now, me, whatever, I'll own it. You're not going to bother me. I own who I am and what I am and all that. So it didn't bother me, but I know some people get bothered. without mentioning names, I know Zingbot made fun of one person's house guest having acne one time, which I thought was horrible. And you don't need, we all do enough knuckleheaded stuff, behavior while we're in the house. You don't have to resort to attacks on our physical, the way we look at it or anything. And they made fun. Zingbot made fun of Nick from my season with his bowl haircut, which, yeah, come on. With me, yeah, you did it. I really thought Zingbot was going to make fun of me having such a loud mouth and being overheard by Christy, and that I would just be the loud mouth that's driving everyone crazy. And put me on the staff. I can come up with some zings that don't involve your physical features and get a person laughing here or there. But yeah, that was my zing. It was like, yeah, okay. I can't believe I spent 70 days in the house just to hear you say that, Zingbot. But whatever. I'm still here. That's the key part of it. Every year it seems like there's one or two that are good, and then one or two that you just think, God, y'all are just brutal guys. I'm not sure it's even funny. It's just kind of mean. Whatever. But people talk about it, and I'll never forget mine. So there you go. All right, populism update. I like that login name. Would you do different on second chances if you were chosen? Well, that's always been what I've thought about. Would I go in and try to play exactly the same game, or would I just spin it all around just to surprise people and do something different? My brain tells me change it all up, because the first time I went in there, I knew people were going to make assumptions about me based on my age, that I was from Texas, that I worked in oil field, that my skin is white, all the things that they see about me when I walk in the first 5 minutes. I knew they were going to make assumptions about me based on that. And I wanted to challenge some of those assumptions and prove people wrong, and maybe surprise some people, and maybe take advantage of some situations because they made some assumptions that turned out not to be right. I would hate to go into the second season and have people assuming everything about me based on what they saw during season one, because it seems like that would make it easy for them to maybe understand better how to manipulate me, how to take advantage of me. They got to be sitting there saying, "Oh, that guy's gullible. He'll make him a promise. He'll believe anything. Give him a handshake deal. He'll honor it. He'll follow it all the way through." So I think from a strategy standpoint, from a winning standpoint, from getting as far as you can down the road in this game, I think I'd have to change it up. Now, does that mean I'd be a complete villain? I don't know. I don't know if I've got it in me to turn around and be a villain, but I think I'd have to go in and be much more ruthless and much more stab a person in the back here or there, and really take advantage of some people thinking that they could trust me based on my first season, and then maybe prove that maybe they can't. I don't know. It's tough, but yeah, I think I would change it around, partially as a strategy standpoint, partially because I understand better the game, and partially just to have fun while I was in there, just to watch people's reaction when they're like, "Cliff, how dare you do that?" Well, it is what it is. So yeah, I would change it as much as I could, but my internal character is what it is. I would do things differently just because I needed to, but inside I'd still be the same friendly guy. I think. I hope. You aren't going to change me just off of a couple of months inside that house. Although that house does change people. It's a long time to be in a house. Every time I think about it, 3.5 months I was in that freaking house. It's a long time. All right, what else do we have on here? Mark saying, any word when Big Brother Canada is going to start and where to watch it? Also, would you be a catfish on the circle? Oh, I don't know. First of all, the second question, I don't know if I could be a catfish on the circle. Now, if the circle came to me and said, Cliff, we want you on the show, but we want you to play your daughter, or we want you to play, I've got a niece who's getting ready to go to college. We want you to play a young college girl or something. Well, I'm not going to say no. I'm going to say, yeah, sure, whatever. I'll do it. But I just don't know that I'd be good at it. As soon as I do that, there's going to be some little competition where I have to talk about dancing or popular music of the time, or makeup or something. I'm not gonna. I'm gonna do horrible. So yes, I would I'd catfish if they wanted me to. And if I thought that it would help my chances, I'd volunteer to do it. I'd go in there and say, I'm a 57-year-old guy, but I'm going to catfish. I'm going to pretend like I'm a 62-year-old woman. Would that work for you? And they're probably going to say, yeah, that's not really what we had in mind, Cliff. But yeah, sure. I would do whatever it took if they wanted me on there and they had suggestions. I'd have fun with it. I mean, I'd milk it for all it's worth, and I would play as hard as I could, whatever persona I was playing. But again, I just don't know that I'd be good at it. I'd get caught up. Someone say, "There's no way this is a 22-year-old woman sitting there talking howdies and y'alls and talking about music from the 50s and 60s and all that." It would take a lot of work. It would stress me out, but sure, I'd do it. Bring it on. Call me up, Circle. I'll play whoever you want me to play, and I'll do my damnedest to do it as well. All right, populism updates. Would you go on the traders? Yes, I'd do that before the Circle if they gave me a chance. Would you be a trader or faithful? Oh, here's the thing. I think the first season that we saw of the Traders US, I think they're just now figuring out, all of us are just now figuring out strategies. In my head, I've got strategies figured out on how I would play that game, either as a trader or as a faithful. It excites me. It excites me a lot more than the Circle because I just think I'd be better at it. I'd love pointing fingers at other people and trying to get people on board to go after folks and all that. I kind of think the first half of the season, the first half of Traders, it doesn't really matter whether you're a trader or not. You're just throwing darts. No one knows who's a trader that early. So rather than worry too much about whether you got a trader or a regular person, you just go for the people that you think are the threats, and you try to build an alliance of, it may be traders mixed in with you. It may be faithful. Doesn't matter as long as you got a core group to help protect you. I'd love to do that show. If they said, Cliff, would you be faithful or would you be a traitor? I'd be a traitor. That would be fun. I would have so much fun with the being devious and everything, playing that game. Yeah, I'd have a blast. I don't want to give any spoilers about this season, but I'd love to be a traitor because I feel like I'd be going a little bit against character. I think I could do a damn good job of it as well. Yeah, it'd be fun. I did hear the season 2 of the Traders was renewed. Now, I don't know that it's going to involve reality TV people, D-list celebrities or anything like that. It may just all be folks who haven't been on TV before. I don't know. I don't know how that's going to work, but that'd be fun. Playing the game and going to hang out in a castle in Scotland. Those both sound like pretty good ways to spend. Of course, they only do 10 days, but that's all right. Hey, 10 days means I can do it and still have a job when I get back and everything else. So win-win from all directions on the trader. So yeah, trader guys, trader casters, give me a call. I'll be a trader and I'll do pretty good with that as well. All right. Judy W. Hi, are you going to the Circle? Yeah, we talked about that a second ago. If they wanted me to do it, sure. But I'd rather do it. I'm not going to say that because there's probably someone from the Circle saying, oh, well, damn, I was going to get Cliff, but I guess not. Yeah, call me. I don't say no to anything. I may say no to the Bachelorette and things like that because I like being married to my wife. But other than that, give me a call. I'll do whatever reality show you want me to do. Mark's saying, who are you pulling for in the challenge now that there are only 3 duos left? Gosh, Mark, I don't know. I'm probably not. That sounds bad because it's not that I'm rooting against it. Johnny Bananas has won a lot of challenges, right? And I know Nani, she wants to win and all that, but I'm okay if Bananas doesn't win. I love the guy. I met him. He's so nice. I didn't expect that. If there was ever anyone who could be a diva, it could be him because he's got so many successes in that show. Nicest guy in the world, though. So it's not that anything against him. It's just he's won enough times. I'd love to see Anissa win because she never has. And I got just kind of a soft spot for Devin as well. So of those two, either one, I'll call it here. Anissa and Jordan. I'd like to see them win. I don't think they are. I think they're the long shots. They're the dark horses at this point in time. But I'd love to see Anissa get a final win under her belt. So all things being equal, not based on who I think's going to win, but who I'd love to see win. I'd like to see her do it. She's had a hard time with running and all that. She rolled her ankle last episode. It's just been tough for her. So I don't think it's going to happen. If that doesn't happen, then I'll probably say Devin and Tori. Because I kind of want to see Devin win. As much as he badmouths Big Brother players and all, I feel like that's just him playing the game and just ribbing people. And I like the fact that Devin he's not Fessel. He's not the most athletic, I'm going to dominate you in hall brawl and everything else. Devin's just a guy who plays a hell of a strategy game. He's good at puzzles. There's some competitions he does well in, but he's just good at playing a strategy game. And I respect that. And I really like that. So yeah, I'll say Anissa and Jordan, but in terms of who I want to win, of who I think actually has a chance to win, I'm going Devin and Tori, I think. We'll see what happens on Wednesday. I think it all wraps up on Wednesday. It's a long final, 100 hours, so maybe they stretch it out into 2 more episodes, but I bet it finishes up this week. No matter who wins, though, I'm going to be happy for any of them that wins. They all deserve it at this point in time. But yeah, if Horatio and Olivia were still there, that they would have been the ones I was cheering for. I wanted them to win so bad. But the good thing is they'll be back. I think they'll be back next season. They did great. All right. Populism update. If you got on second chances, with which 3 people would you want to see when you entered the house? Well, that's a tough one. Are you asking based on who I would enjoy hanging out with the most, or who I would want to be in there with because I think I could work with them and maybe win a game with them? If you're talking about hanging out, someone like Ovi would be a lot of fun to have back in the house and hopefully play for a little bit longer than before. If you're talking about people who I really respect their game, I'd love to play side by side with them. Who is it? There's Johnny Mac would be one of them that would be a lot of fun. Vanessa Russo. I thought she played pretty good. I think she's a smart player. I would love to play the game next to Eric Stein from Big Brother 8. He was America's player. He never really got a chance to play the game on his own because he was having to do what America said. But I still think he played a brilliant game. He's a nice, friendly guy. So I would love to play with Eric Stein. I don't think that'll ever happen. I'm not sure he's ever going to come back. But playing with Eric would be kind of fun. Who else would I want to see in there? There's people like Donnie Thompson. Donnie and I think we'd have fun just hanging out in the house, causing problems and just acting silly and all of that. So there's a few of them. Popular that loves Ovi. I do too. Ovi is a stand-up guy. Hated to see him go so fast. He a little bit of his own doing, but some of it just the things that were happening around him. Yeah, Ovi and I, especially Ovi, myself and Nicole, we would have been tight. We would have fought to the very end. It just didn't work out. Yeah, I love Ovi. As far as going in, who I would not want to see, I'm an engineer. I'm a logical guy. I think I would want to see some people that I felt played a similar game so we could communicate with each other and maybe work together to go forward. Ian Terry. I'd love to be playing the game with Ian. I think that would be very interesting as well. Not sure he'd ever come back, but yeah, I've met Ian, a great guy. The people that would worry me a little bit are the ones who play the game with a little bit more emotion. They wear their heart on their sleeve, a little bit less reliable because they play with so much emotion. Because for me, those are the people that you can't always know what they're going to do. That you can't depend on your own gameplay theory, your own strategies to predict what they're going to do because they're just playing in a different sphere. And those are the ones, that unpredictability is what worried me most about coming into that house playing that game. Kat Dunn. I mean, she was from Texas. I wanted to work with her. And in the end, we became friends. We were part of Cliff's Angels and all that. She worried me from start to finish because I never really knew which cat we were going to get every single day. There was a very smart, that girl's intelligent, a very smart part of Kat that knew how to play that game. But there was also a part of her that would sometimes let her emotions catch her up and potentially crater a game. And I never knew for certain which one I was getting. So that would be tough to deal with. I mean, that's part of it. You know, we get a mix of everyone, but those are the kinds that would worry me probably. Ronnie Hittner saying, "Hey, Ronnie, I love going back and rewatching old Big Brother seasons. Do you ever do the same?" Not so much. I used to, but since I've been in the house, I don't know why. I am not adverse to doing it. I've got Paramount Plus. They're all out there, easy to go out there and find. But I haven't really done it because I know who wins every season. I'd like to go back and just watch just to see some of the competitions and all of that. And because I meet some of these people when I go to these different charity events and everything else. So yeah, I'd like to. I just haven't done it that much. I spent so much time. There's times where I spend so much time still thinking about my season of Big Brother. I almost feel like I don't need to go back and be watching more old seasons and talking any more about Big Brother with my wife and family than I already have, especially since I still cover Big Brother in the summer and all that. I feel like there's a lot of my life that still revolves around Big Brother without going back and doing the old stuff. So maybe that's part of it, but some of those old seasons are fantastic. And I really haven't gone back and watched them. I know a lot of them. I just haven't gone back and watched specific episodes. So, all right, let's see what we've got here. Mark saying, reading a book on how to win the challenge. We need a book on how to win Big Brother by Cliff Hogg. Well, if I did a book on how to win Big Brother, the first thing I'd have is about 100 critics saying, well, why are we going to listen to that guy? He didn't win. He came in fourth place. It's out there, right? But yeah, I feel like I could contribute more than writing a book on how to win it. I think I could be an okay coach, just preparing people. Say, all right, you're getting ready to go in the house. Here's what you need to be thinking of as you go in. Here's what you need to be prepared for, not just always from a strategy standpoint, but even just from a stress standpoint, from a getting along, from how do you keep from getting everyone mad at you. And I feel like now the thing is, you can't tell anyone when you're going in a house. And Big Brother did a pretty good job of saying, if you spill the beans, if we find out about it, you're out of here. You're not going on the show. We got y'all guys are a dime or a dozen. We'll just replace you with someone else. So I didn't tell anyone. My wife knew, my kids knew, but that was about it. But as a result, very few people reach out to past house guests and ask for advice or anything else. There've been one or two, and I'll just leave it at that. But every once in a while, someone will say, "Hey, there's a chance I'm gonna be on. Any advice you can offer?" But for the most part, they don't. But yeah, I'd love to just be a coach for someone, whether it's part of the game where I'm in the house coaching them or before they go on. That's what I think I'd do pretty well at. Write a book, yeah, but maybe I'll say how to survive in the Big Brother house more so than how to win it. And chapter 1's gonna be use your indoor voice. Don't have a loud mouth, big mouth, learn by example, and be a big old picture of me right there. All right, wow, 754. Miss Fire saying, can I send you my my audition video? Yeah, here's the thing. I know there's people who go out there and they charge past contestants. They'll charge for coaching and things like that. If any of y'all want to send me a video or a link to your video on YouTube or something, send it to me on DM me on Twitter or Instagram or whatever. Send me a link or send me the video. I'll watch it. I'll give you I'm not going to spend hours and hours and hours, but I'll watch it. I'll give you my thoughts, good, bad, in between, suggestions, whatever. I won't charge you a penny for it. Now, if I get tomorrow 2,000 of these things, we may have to reevaluate. Those of you who are out here, yeah, I got you covered. Other folks, we'll have to talk about, but yeah, I'm always happy to help people because it's such a cool journey. Even if you didn't make it on, Misfire, you can have a perfect video, and it may still not happen because the puzzle pieces just don't fit quite that season. It also could be that they love it. You make it to the first round or two, and then it doesn't happen. You don't get on. Yeah, we never know. But even if you get just to that first round or two, such a cool feeling. I mean, to get a call saying, hey, we'd like to talk to you a little further. That talk about a way to brighten your day and really make you feel like, wow, here we go. Get ready for the buckle those seatbelts, get ready for the ride. So yeah, if there's ever anything I can do to help any of y'all, send it to me. I'll give you a real quick opinion on things you maybe can do or things I like. And yeah, I'm not a casting director. I'm just a guy who made it on there, but I feel like I kind of know some of the stuff they look for. So yeah, shoot it to me. I'll help you out. Ma saying, be my coach. Ma, I would be your coach. Ma, you get on the show, whether I'm officially your coach or not, I'll be standing on the other side of the wall and I'll be shouting out or launching tennis balls with messages. I'll help you out. Yeah, I'll be your coach. It would be a lot of fun. I would enjoy every single bit of it. Judy W saying, who do you think will be in season 25 on Big Brother? I keep hearing that it could be a second chances season. But then we just had All Stars back in 22, and I feel like we haven't had enough time between then, All Stars happening and season 25. I personally don't think we're going to have second chances. I get it. It's 25 years special, very, 25 years and all that, but I don't know. I don't know that it's going to work like that. If we did get someone back, I don't know. I'm trying to think who some of the people like Josh Martinez or Casey, who were supposed to be on Big Brother, supposedly, allegedly on All Stars and didn't make it for COVID or whatever else. But they're so busy with the challenge. I don't know if after you do the challenge a lot, if you come back in to Big Brother or not. And there's so many people after a few years, people move on with their lives and start doing other things. So I don't know. I don't know who I'd want to see come back into that house. I'd want to see a mix. I would not want to see more than one or two people from any particular season. I don't want to see just winners. I don't know that I want to see just the first person out every year as well. I think you need a mix. Give us some people that maybe went out right before jury started or right after jury started that maybe played a good game. It just didn't quite work out for whatever reason. And I can't throw out specific names right now as I say that, but we all know people who you really thought they were going to go further and it just didn't work out. And they had great personalities and all that. I'd like to see some of them come back, but I'm just not convinced that any of the Survivor folks, any of the Big Brother, I don't know if it's going to be a returning house guest year. As much as I hear differently, prove me wrong. Give me a call, CBS, and prove me wrong. That's fine with me. I just don't know that's it. I mentioned Survivor because they just announced the contestants for season 44 Survivor. I'm excited. It's going to be fun. Two of the house guests, two of the contestants I'm especially excited for. Carson Garrett, because he's an engineer that wants to go to work for NASA. I think he works with NASA right now. I'm all about the space program and all, so I'm excited for him. And Lauren is from, she's a neighbor. She's just up the road, Beaumont, Port Arthur area, just a little east of Houston. So she's a fellow Texan. And I may have met them at one point a little earlier in the year. And at the time, didn't necessarily know they were going to be on Survivor. But now I know, and that's pretty cool. So they're definitely the two I'm going to be cheering for. But I'm ready for the next season of Survivor. That's good. I think it's going to be another great season. 7:59. All right, we'll do one or two and then we'll get out of here. Miss Fire saying, coaching with Cliff. Absolutely. And if you win the $500,000, what's it now? 750,000 or so. You just have to come down here to Texas and take me out for a beer or two. And we'll call it even at that. But yeah, any of y'all out here watching, I'm all about the game. I'm all about the fun of doing it. Speaking of this day, 1935, the first Monopoly board game went on sale. There you go. I just thought about it because my family played board games for so long. Monopoly, Risk, everything else. I've always been about matching wits with other people, strategy and all that. I love going to Vegas. I haven't gone in forever, but playing poker and things like that, all that kind of stuff where you're just mano-y-mano is kind of cool to do, or not mano-y-mano, brain to brain or whatever. So yeah, I'll help any of y'all that need it as far as Big Brother goes. All right, guys, 8:00. I think we'll shut it down right there. We didn't even talk about the Super Bowl. Super Bowl coming up. Go Chiefs. Don't tell Nick Macarone that, or he'll never talk to me again, being the Eagles fan he is, but I think I'm cheering for the Chiefs. But we'll see. I'm just there for the commercials this year. Guys, y'all have a fantastic Monday. I guess Monday's today. Yeah. Have a fantastic Monday. Have a fantastic rest of the week. I will be back next Monday to see what's going on, talk a little Valentine's Day and all that. Until then, guys, SKD 143. Love my wife, love my kids, love all of y'all. As I mentioned before, please go out there, turn on the subscription to my channel if you don't mind. Turn on notifications, give a thumbs up. Appreciate it all. But guys, y'all have a great one. I will talk to y'all in another week. Till then, cheers, my friends.